As I stepped off the bus and onto the worn pavement of Blackwater, a shiver ran down my spine. The town seemed to be enveloped in an air of mystery and apprehension. Tall, ancient trees lined the streets, casting long shadows that whispered secrets in the wind. I had arrived in search of a story, the truth behind the legend of the Blackwater Banshee. My first task was to find Emma, the local historian who held the key to unraveling the enigma that surrounded the river. The townspeople spoke of her as if she held ancient wisdom within her, and I was eager to tap into that knowledge. With determination in my heart, I made my way towards the small historical society. The door creaked as I pushed it open, revealing a room filled with old books, maps, and artifacts. The scent of aged paper filled the air, adding to the ambiance of the place. And there, amidst the clutter, stood Emma, a petite woman with silver streaks in her dark hair and eyes that held the wisdom of years. "Sarah Thompson, I presume," she said, a warm smile forming on her lips. "Welcome to Blackwater. I've been expecting you." Surprised by her knowledge, I nodded, trying to hide my excitement. "Yes, that's me. I've come to uncover the truth about the Blackwater Banshee. I want to know if the legend is real or just a figment of imagination." Emma's gaze seemed to penetrate my very soul. "The Banshee is no mere imagination, my dear. It has plagued our town for generations, a creature of darkness and despair. Many lives have been lost, and many hearts haunted by its wails." A chill crept down my spine as she spoke. It was then that I realized this investigation was not going to be a mere journalistic pursuit. It was an exploration of the unknown, a confrontation with the terrors lurking within the Blackwater River. With a sense of urgency, I asked Emma to share what she knew. She recounted tales of unsuspecting victims who ventured too close to the river's edge and vanished without a trace. She spoke of the wails that echoed through the night, the chilling sound that struck fear into the hearts of those who heard it. The Banshee, according to her, was a harbinger of death and despair, a malevolent entity that guarded the secrets of the river's murky depths. "Be careful, Sarah," Emma warned, her voice laced with concern. "The Banshee does not take kindly to those who seek it out. It is said to lure its victims, calling to them in haunting whispers until they succumb to its grasp." Her words hung in the air like an ominous cloud. Yet, they only fueled my determination to unravel the truth. I thanked Emma for her insights and promised to return with my findings. As I left the Historical Society, a sense of foreboding settled upon me. The legends of the Blackwater Banshee were no longer distant fables, but a tangible presence, lurking just beyond the veil of reality. With each step, the mysteries of the river enticed me further, beckoning me into its depths. Little did I know that my journey would take me to the edge of sanity and challenge everything I thought I knew. The legend had awakened, and I was about to embark on a harrowing adventure. A quest to confront the Blackwater Banshee and uncover the dark secrets that lay hidden beneath the surface. The moon hung high in the sky, casting an eerie glow upon the town of Blackwater. As I walked through the narrow streets, the stories of the Blackwater Banshee echoed in my mind. Whispers in the dark, they seemed to follow me, tantalizing and unnerving all at once. Nightfall had brought a palpable shift in the atmosphere, a sense of anticipation that sent a shiver down my spine. I couldn't help but feel as though unseen eyes were watching my every move, their gaze filled with equal parts curiosity and menace. Determined to unravel the truth, I sought out those who had encountered the Banshee firsthand. Their stories would serve as the foundation of my investigation, and perhaps hold the key to understanding the darkness that plagued this town. I met a weathered fisherman named Old Tom, who had spent decades on the Blackwater River. He regaled me with tales of his encounters with the Banshee, the cold, bone-chilling wails that echoed through the night, raising the hairs on his neck and sending a wave of dread coursing through his veins. "Listen, lass," he warned, his voice trembling with unease. "If you hear the Banshee's cry, cover your ears and run. It has a way of calling to you, drawing you closer to the river, closer to its grasp. Old Tom's words struck a chord within me. The thought of succumbing to the banshee's beckoning was both terrifying and strangely intriguing, but I couldn't let myself be consumed by fear. I had a duty to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. As I continued my inquiries, I encountered a woman named Mary, whose brother had vanished near the river's edge. Her eyes filled with sorrow as she recounted the nightmarish event. The sinister whispers that had plagued her dreams, the unexplainable pull that had drawn her brother to the river, and the heart-wrenching silence that followed. Mary's account echoed those of many others who had experienced loss and tragedy in the wake of the banshee's call. The river had claimed too many lives, leaving a trail of grief and unanswered questions in its wake. Haunted by their stories, I couldn't help but wonder what lay beneath the surface of the Blackwater River. What secrets did it hold, and what malevolent force lurked within its murky depths? The nights grew darker, and my investigations grew more intense. The whispers that plagued my mind seemed to seep into my waking hours as well. Shadows danced on the edge of my vision, fleeting and elusive, as if the banshee itself toyed with my sanity. Sleep became a torment as nightmares consumed my nights. I would wake in a cold sweat, my heart racing, unable to shake the feeling that I was being watched. The line between reality and myth blurred, leaving me on the precipice of a truth that both terrified and fascinated me. But I was not one to back down from a challenge. The whispers in the dark only fueled my determination to uncover the secrets of the Blackwater Banshee. No matter the risks, I would press forward, ready to face the horrors that awaited me. The town of Blackwater simmered with an undercurrent of tension. It seemed as though everyone had taken sides, believers and skeptics locked in a silent battle over the existence of the Blackwater Banshee. It was a conflict that would test my objectivity and force me to navigate treacherous waters. I sought out the believers first, those who clung steadfastly to the legend. They were a close-knit group, bound together by their shared experiences and unwavering faith in the Banshee's presence. In their eyes, the river was a place of reverence and caution, a force to be reckoned with, not dismissed as mere folklore. I attended one of their gatherings, a clandestine event that took place under the cover of night. The believers, cloaked in darkness, whispered ancient incantations and performed rituals to appease the Banshee. Their devotion was palpable, their faces etched with a mixture of fear and reverence. As I observed their ceremonies, I couldn't help but be captivated by the intensity of their beliefs. Their conviction wove an intricate tapestry, and I found myself entangled within its threads. Was it possible that there was more to the Blackwater Banshee than just a tale designed to frighten? However, my exploration of the believer's world did not come without consequences. Whispers of distrust and suspicion reached my ears. The believers saw me as an intruder, an outsider who sought to exploit their traditions for personal gain. They regarded me with wary eyes, questioning my motives and the authenticity of my intentions. On the other side of the divide stood the skeptics, a group of individuals who dismissed the Banshee as nothing more than a fabrication used to control the town. They insisted that the disappearances and tragedies were mere accidents or the result of natural phenomena, a rational explanation to counter the superstitions that held their neighbors in thrall. One particular skeptic caught my attention, James, a charismatic and eloquent voice among the doubters. He spoke with conviction, his words laced with a mix of logic and empathy. He warned me about the dangers of becoming entangled in the Banshee's web, cautioning me against the allure of blind belief. "Sarah," he said, his voice laced with concern, "the Banshee is a product of fear and collective imagination. It's a narrative that has shaped the lives of the people in this town for generations. But we must be wary of allowing these stories to control our lives and cloud our judgment." James's skepticism resonated with me, tugging at the strings of my rationality. I found solace in his arguments. but my heart still yearned for the truth. I was torn between the opposing factions, caught in the crossfire of their fervent convictions. As the conflict deepened, I realized that my journey was not just about uncovering the truth behind the Blackwater Banshee. It was a test of my own resilience and ability to navigate the murky waters of belief and skepticism. I had to remain steadfast, maintaining a delicate balance between empathy and skepticism, as I sought the answers that lay hidden beneath the surface. In the midst of this divided town, I pressed forward, determined to discover the truth that lay hidden within the tales of the Blackwater Banshee. But as the shadows grew longer, I knew that my investigation was about to take an even darker turn, one that would challenge everything I thought I knew about the river and the creature that dwelled within. The moon cast a pale glow over the town of Blackwater as I found myself standing on the outskirts of a hidden clearing. It was the night of the Believers' Gathering, a clandestine ritual to appease the Blackwater Banshee. With a mixture of trepidation and curiosity, I stepped forward, ready to witness their devotion firsthand. The clearing was bathed in an otherworldly light emanating from the flickering flames of torches that lined the perimeter. The air hummed with anticipation as the believers, their faces veiled and voices hushed, prepared for the ancient rites. Emma, my guide and source of knowledge, led me through the crowd towards a vantage point that offered a clear view of the ceremony. She whispered in my ear, her voice barely audible above the murmurs of the gathering. "Sarah, this is a rare privilege. You're about to witness what few outsiders have seen, the Believers' communion with the Banshee." As the rituals began, the clearing transformed into a surreal spectacle. The Believers, cloaked in reverence and fear, chanted ancient incantations, their words carried by the night breeze. The flickering torchlight cast eerie shadows that danced across their faces, making them seem like figures from a forgotten time. In the heart of the clearing stood a small wooden altar adorned with offerings, a collection of delicate trinkets, flowers, and shimmering stones. The believers moved around it in a rhythmic dance, their movements synchronized and purposeful. Suddenly, the air grew heavy, and an eerie silence descended upon the clearing. The believers bowed their heads in reverence, their voices fading to whispers. And then a low, mournful wail pierced the stillness, a sound that sent a chill racing down my spine. The Banshee had answered their call. A collective gasp rippled through the crowd as the believers turned their attention to the river. Their eyes were filled with a mixture of awe and terror as they witnessed a figure emerge from the dark waters, a spectral apparition, ethereal and haunting. The Banshee glided across the surface of the river, its form shrouded in mist. Its wails echoed through the night, resonating with an undeniable power that stirred something deep within my soul. I watched, spellbound, as the believers reached out, their fingers grazing the water's edge, as if trying to connect with the mysterious entity. Time seemed to stand still as the Banshee's presence enveloped the clearing. It was as if the very fabric of reality had been woven with strands of myth and legend. And in that moment, I understood the believers' devotion, their unwavering faith in the existence of this enigmatic creature. But just as quickly as it had appeared, the Banshee receded into the depths of the river, leaving behind a sense of longing and loss. The believers bowed their heads in reverence, their whispers of gratitude carrying through the night. Emma turned to me, her eyes gleaming with a mixture of awe and solemnity. "Sarah, you've witnessed what few outsiders ever have. The Banshee has blessed us with its presence tonight. But remember, it is a force that demands respect and caution. It can be both a guardian and a harbinger of doom." As I left the gathering, my mind swirled with a mix of emotions. I had witnessed something extraordinary, a glimpse into the believers' world, their connection to the believers' world, their connection to the Banshee, and the power it held over their lives. But it also raised new questions. What was the true nature of the Banshee? And what purpose did it serve in the intricate tapestry of Blackwater's history? The moonlight danced upon the surface of the Blackwater River as I found myself drawn to its banks once again. The haunting echoes of the banshee's wails still reverberated in my mind, stirring a mixture of fear and fascination within me. I knew that if I were to uncover the truth, I had to delve into the past, the forgotten tales and forgotten voices that lingered in the shadows. My research led me to the town's historical archives, a dusty room filled with yellow documents and forgotten relics. I carefully sifted through aged records, searching for any mention of the Blackwater Banshee, tracing the thread of its existence through the annals of time. Among the faded pages, I discovered a forgotten journal, a relic from the early settlers of Blackwater. Its tattered leather cover and delicate pages seemed to whisper secrets from a bygone era. With trembling hands, I opened it, delving into the world of those who had walked these streets long before me. The journal belonged to Amelia McAllister, a woman who had witnessed the rise of the Blackwater Banshee firsthand. Her words spoke of a time when the town was young, the river untamed, a time when the whispers of a mysterious creature began to echo through the minds of its inhabitants. Amelia chronicled the disappearances that had plagued Blackwater, each one accompanied by the mournful cries of the banshee. The town lived in fear, their lives forever altered by the presence of this enigmatic being. Amelia's entries revealed the desperation and sorrow that gripped the hearts of the townsfolk as they faced an unknown terror. As I pored over her words, a pattern emerged, a cycle of loss and sacrifice that seemed intrinsically tied to the banshee's existence. The river, once revered as a source of life and sustenance, had become a conduit for tragedy, a dark force that demanded appeasement. In Amelia's final entries, she recounted a daring plan conceived by a group of brave souls individuals who sought to quell the banshee's wrath and restore peace to Blackwater. They believed that by making a sacrifice, a voluntary offering of their own lives, they could appease the banshee and bring an end to the town's suffering. Their plan was shrouded in secrecy, enacted under the cloak of darkness. The chosen few ventured into the heart of the river, where the banshee's cries were said to be the loudest. They submerged themselves, one by one, into the frigid waters, offering their lives in exchange for the safety of their loved ones. The sacrifices were meant to be a one-time event, a final act of desperate courage. But as I read Amelia's words, I couldn't help but wonder, had the ritual truly brought an end to the banshee's reign of terror, or had its insatiable hunger merely been temporarily sated? Armed with this newfound knowledge, I knew I had to dig deeper, to unravel the truth that lay buried within the river's murky depths. The sacrifices of the past held the key to understanding the present, and I was determined to uncover the full extent of the town's dark history. As I closed Amelia's journal, a sense of foreboding settled upon my shoulders. The banshee's cries still echoed in my mind, a constant reminder of the task that lay before me. With each passing day, the whispers of the past grew louder, urging me to uncover the truth and face the horrors that awaited me in the heart of Blackwater. The river flowed with a silent intensity as I stood at the water's edge, contemplating the weight of the revelations I had uncovered. The sacrifices of the past echoed through my thoughts, urging me to continue my quest for the truth. It was time to confront the darkest secrets that lay hidden beneath the surface of Blackwater. Armed with the knowledge from Amelia's journal, I sought out the descendants of the brave souls who had made the ultimate sacrifice. They held the key to unraveling the mysteries that haunted this town for generations. Through their stories, I hope to piece together the truth behind the banshee's existence and its connection to the river. One by one, I tracked down the families, gaining their trust through empathy and shared sorrow. They were wary, their eyes filled with both curiosity and trepidation as they welcomed me into their homes. Together, we delved into the past, peeling back the layers of time to reveal the truth that had long been concealed. Each family had a unique tale to tell, stories of loss, sacrifice, and the enduring legacy of the Blackwater Banshee. They spoke of their ancestors' courage, the deep love they held for their families, and the painful choice they made to protect their loved ones from the banshee's wrath. As the descendants shared their stories, patterns emerged, and a chilling realization washed over me. The sacrifices were not merely acts of desperation. They were part of a carefully orchestrated cycle, a pact forged between the town and the banshee. The townsfolk believed that by offering up their own lives to the river, they could keep the banshee's hunger at bay, sparing the lives of their children and ensuring the town's survival. It was a haunting arrangement, born out of a desperate desire for peace and a twisted sense of duty. But as the generations passed, the true nature of the pact became clouded. The stories evolved into legends, the sacrifices reduced to whispers of caution. Over time, the town forgot the true purpose of their ancestral pact, leaving the banshee's hunger unchecked. With this revelation, my determination grew. I couldn't stand idly by while Blackwater suffered the consequences of forgotten truths. I vowed to break the cycle, to find a way to free the town from the banshee's grasp once and for all. I delved further into my research, seeking ancient rituals and forgotten knowledge that might hold the key to severing the bond between Blackwater and the banshee. I consulted old texts, sought advice from local historians, and even explored the depths of the river itself, hoping to uncover clues that had long been submerged. Through tireless efforts, I unearthed a long-forgotten ritual, an ancient incantation believed to have the power to banish the banshee and break the cycle of sacrifice. It required a delicate balance of elements, a convergence of faith, and an unyielding resolve. Armed with the knowledge I had gathered, I called upon the descendants and townsfolk of Blackwater, sharing my findings and rallying them for a final stand against the banshee. Together, we prepared for a ritual that would test our collective will and reshape the fate of our town. As the moon ascended to its zenith, we gathered on the banks of the Blackwater River. The air crackled with anticipation, a tangible mixture of hope and fear. The banshee's wails filled the night, carrying a sense of defiance, a final challenge to our resolve. With voices raised in unison, we chanted the ancient incantation, weaving our collective belief into a tapestry of purpose. The river surged, the very essence of the banshee, quivering with uncertainty. The air crackled with energy as the banshee's wails intertwined with our resolute incantations. The river surged with an otherworldly force, its waters swirling and churning in response to our collective will. It was a moment of reckoning, a battle between ancient forces and the determination of Blackwater's inhabitants. As the incantation reached its zenith, a blinding light erupted from the river's depths. The banshee materialized before us, a specter of ethereal beauty and malevolence. Its eyes glowed with a haunting intensity, capturing the essence of centuries-old suffering and unquenchable hunger. With a mighty roar, the banshee lunged towards us, its form tearing through the veil between worlds. We stood firm, undeterred by its formidable presence. This was our moment to break the cycle, to reclaim our town from the grip of fear and sacrifice. The descendants of the original sacrificers, fueled by the love and determination of their ancestors, stepped forward. They carried with them a relic, the symbol of their lineage, and the embodiment of their willingness to defy tradition. With unwavering resolve, they faced the banshee, their eyes shining with a mixture of sorrow and determination. In a moment of sheer courage, they offered the relic, a token of their ancestors' sacrifice, to the banshee, challenging its dominance and demanding an end to the cycle. The air thickened with anticipation as the banshee's piercing gaze locked onto the relic. Its hunger and fury momentarily halted. A surge of raw power erupted from the relic, engulfing the banshee in a blinding brilliance. The very essence of the creature trembled, as if caught between two worlds, its form flickering and fading. For a moment, time itself seemed suspended, a fragile balance teetering on the edge of resolution. And then, with a final, mournful cry, the banshee dissipated into the night, its existence severed from the town of Blackwater. Silence fell upon the river, broken only by the gentle lapping of its waters against the shore. We stood in awe, breathless, as the weight of the moment settled upon us. The cycle had been broken, the river's hold on our lives finally released. The sacrifices of the past had not been in vain. They had paved the way for a future free from the banshee's grip. Tears mingled with smiles as the townsfolk embraced one another, celebrating the newfound freedom that coursed through their veins. It was a bittersweet triumph, for we would never forget the price that had been paid, nor the courage of those who had come before us. In the aftermath of the confrontation, a sense of healing washed over Blackwater. The town began to thrive, its people rekindling their spirits and rebuilding their lives without the weight of fear and sacrifice. The river, once seen as a source of torment, transformed into a symbol of resilience and rebirth. As time passed, the legends of the Blackwater Banshee shifted from tales of terror to stories of triumph, a testament to the strength of a community united against darkness. The sacrifices of the past became a source of inspiration, a reminder that love and bravery could overcome even the most formidable of adversaries. But amidst the newfound peace, we remained ever vigilant. Knowing that the Banshee's memory could linger in the shadows, we pledged to honor the sacrifices of our ancestors by never forgetting the lessons learned and by ensuring that the cycle would never be revived. Blackwater had emerged from the depths of darkness, forever changed by its harrowing encounter with the Banshee. The town had found its voice, a chorus of resilience and unity that would echo through the generations. As I meandered along the tranquil riverbank of Havenwood, the sun cast golden hues upon the shimmering water. The town's idyllic charm seemed unblemished, yet an eerie unease had settled in my gut. My curiosity led me to venture closer to the water's edge, where I stumbled upon a sight that would forever change the course of my life. There, emerging from the murky depths, was a creature like none I had ever seen. Its misshapen form sent shivers down my spine, its scaled skin reflecting an unhealthy shade of green. My hands trembled as I fumbled for my phone, capturing a photograph of this grotesque being. Heart pounding with a mix of fear and fascination, I shared the image on social media, hoping to uncover its origin. Little did I know that this simple act would ignite a wildfire of curiosity and concern among the residents of Havenwood. Within hours, the photo had gone viral. Speculation ran rampant. Some dismissed it as a hoax, while others voiced their fears of a potential environmental catastrophe. As the image spread like wildfire, it caught the attention of Dr. Emily Turner, an expert in environmental toxicology who happened to be researching similar phenomena. Dr. Turner reached out to me, her tone a mix of excitement and urgency. Intrigued by her expertise and the opportunity to unravel the mystery together, I agreed to meet her at the local cafe later that day. Sitting across from Dr. Turner, her eyes brimming with a fierce determination, I shared my first-hand encounter with the creature and the resulting public reaction. She listened intently, her mind clearly racing with possibilities. "John," she began, leaning forward, "I've been studying reports of unusual aquatic life in nearby rivers. This discovery aligns with my research. There's a connection between these creatures and industrial pollution." Her words struck a chord within me. I had always been passionate about environmental conservation, and the thought of my beloved river falling victim to pollution filled me with righteous anger. Together, we delved into the factory's records, poring over permits and waste disposal documents. It didn't take long for us to uncover a sinister truth, a trail of toxic waste leading straight to the factory on the outskirts of town. The executives had been shamelessly dumping their waste into the river for years, their actions concealed under a veil of corporate secrecy. As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, an indomitable resolve filled my heart. Dr. Turner and I realized that it was our responsibility to bring the factory's dark secret into the light. We would expose their crimes, not just for the sake of the mutated creatures and the river, but for the well-being of the entire community. But there was one particular weight that burdened me. Sarah, my younger sister, had always been enchanted by the river. She spent countless hours swimming and playing in its waters. A gnawing fear settled in the depths of my being, for I had unknowingly put her at risk. What if she had been exposed to the toxic pollutants as well? As I left the cafe that day, my mind swirled with a mix of determination and concern. I knew the road ahead would be treacherous, filled with obstacles and unknown dangers, but I couldn't turn my back on the river that had nurtured me, nor on the loved ones whose lives were now entangled in this web of contamination. Little did I know that my fight against the factory's pollution had only just begun, and that the river's secrets would unveil a darkness beyond my wildest imagination. The town of Havenwood buzzed with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation as Dr. Emily Turner and I continued our investigation into the factory's dark secret. Armed with a newfound determination, we delved deeper into the web of deceit that had ensnared the once pristine river. Late one evening, Dr. Turner and I huddled in my small study, surrounded by stacks of documents and files. With weary eyes, we combed through the factory's records, searching for any shred of evidence that would expose their careless disregard for the environment. Minutes turned into hours, but our persistence paid off. We discovered a series of discrepancies in the factory's waste disposal report numbers that didn't quite add up. The evidence pointed to one inevitable conclusion. The factory had been willfully dumping toxic waste into the river, their actions concealed under layers of bureaucratic deceit. "This is a full-blown environmental disaster," Dr. Turner exclaimed, her voice filled with a mix of outrage and frustration. "The river's ecosystem is on the verge of collapse, and the mutated creatures we've encountered are a testament to the damage caused by the factory's pollution." As our findings grew more incriminating, we realized the magnitude of the conspiracy we were up against. The factory's executives had deep pockets and powerful connections that reached into the heart of the town's politics. Uncovering their secrets would be a perilous task, one that required both stealth and resilience. Driven by our shared sense of justice, we decided to present our evidence to the local authorities. We scheduled a meeting with Mayor Anderson, a man known for his dedication to the town's well-being. Nervous anticipation gripped me as we entered the mayor's office. Mayor Anderson listened intently, his brow furrowing with each revelation. The room fell silent as we finished presenting our case, the weight of our evidence hanging in the air. After what seemed like an eternity, Mayor Anderson sighed heavily. "I appreciate your efforts, John and Dr. Turner," he said, his voice laced with concern. "But you must understand the complexity of this situation. The factory provides employment for a significant portion of our town. Shutting it down would have severe economic repercussions." My heart sank. The mayor's words stung, and a sense of frustration welled up within me. How could the short-term gains of a few outweigh the long-term consequences for the entire community? I couldn't accept that. Dr. Turner, ever the resilient voice of reason, spoke up. "Mayor Anderson, we understand the economic implications, but we cannot ignore the irreversible damage being inflicted upon our environment and the health of our citizens. We must find a way to strike a balance, to hold the factory accountable while mitigating the impact on the community." The mayor's gaze softened, and I could see the internal struggle within him. He nodded slowly, acknowledging the gravity of the situation. "You have my support, but know that this won't be an easy battle. The factory's executives won't go down without a fight." As we left the mayor's office, the weight of our mission settled upon us. We had embarked on a fight that extended beyond the polluted river. It was a battle for the very soul of our town. We knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger, filled with powerful adversaries willing to protect their secrets at all costs. But we were not deterred. Together, Dr. Turner and I forged an unbreakable bond, a partnership fueled by the shared conviction that justice must prevail. As the sun rose over the horizon, casting a warm glow upon Havenwood, Dr. Emily Turner and I embarked on a relentless pursuit of the truth. Armed with our evidence and determination, we delved deeper into the dark underbelly of the factory's activities, seeking to expose their crimes to the world. Our investigation led us to a small, forgotten building on the outskirts of town, an abandoned research facility that once belonged to the factory. Dust-covered shelves and decaying equipment filled the rooms, remnants of a bygone era. We hoped that hidden within these forgotten corridors lay the key to unraveling the true extent of the factory's wrongdoings. With trepidation, we began sifting through stacks of dusty research documents and faded photographs. It was as if the facility itself held its breath, yearning to reveal the secrets it had long guarded. Hours turned into days as we pieced together a puzzle of insidious experiments and dangerous pollutants. The factory had been conducting illicit research on the river's ecosystem, intentionally exposing aquatic life to toxic substances. Their intentions remained shrouded in ambiguity, but the consequences were all too clear. The mutated creatures that now haunted the river were a direct result of their callous actions. A breakthrough came when we discovered a series of hidden files buried deep within the facility's archives. These files contained shocking evidence of the factory's knowledge and deliberate cover-up of the toxic waste dumping. We knew we had unearthed a smoking gun that would shatter the facade they had carefully constructed. Eager to expose the truth, we reached out to renowned environmental scientists and experts, seeking their guidance and support. Their enthusiasm was palpable, and they eagerly joined our cause, offering their expertise to authenticate our findings and lend credibility to our fight. The town's growing awareness and support for our cause breathed new life into our efforts. Community members inspired by our mission organized rallies and public gatherings, their voices demanding justice and accountability. A wave of public opinion was building, and we knew it was our duty to ride that wave and hold the factory accountable for their crimes. In the midst of this whirlwind, Sarah's health continued to deteriorate. Her once vibrant spirit dimmed, and the weight of guilt settled heavily upon me. I was torn between my duty to the town and my responsibility to my family. I couldn't bear to see Sarah suffer, but I also couldn't ignore the larger implications of the factory's actions. Driven by desperation, I sought solace in the expertise of various medical professionals. I scoured research papers and reached out to specialists who might shed light on Sarah's mysterious illness. It was during this search that I stumbled upon an unconventional treatment that showed promise, an experimental procedure that held the potential to alleviate some of Sarah's symptoms. Armed with newfound hope, I presented the treatment option to my family. Though skeptical, their love for Sarah outweighed any reservations. With a renewed sense of purpose, we embarked on a risky journey, navigating uncharted territories in search of a glimmer of hope for Sarah's recovery. As our search for a cure intensified, so did our determination to bring the factory to justice. Armed with the damning evidence we had collected, we reached out to investigative journalists and legal experts who could help expose the factory's crimes on a larger scale. The battle lines were drawn, and the fight for justice had become a community effort. With each passing day, our resolve grew stronger. We were no longer just two individuals seeking the truth. We had become the voice of the river, the guardians of justice. Darkness settled upon Havenwood, both metaphorically and literally, as Dr. Emily Turner and I found ourselves caught in a web of intimidation and danger. The factory's executives, aware of our investigation, were determined to protect their secrets at any cost. Late one evening, as the moon hung high in the sky, I received a chilling, anonymous phone call. A distorted voice hissed threats, warning me to abandon our pursuit of justice. Fear coiled in the pit of my stomach, but it only fueled my determination. I would not be silenced. The following night, while we were engrossed in our research, we heard an ominous crash from downstairs. Startled, we hurriedly made our way toward the disturbance. As we descended the stairs, our hearts pounding, we discovered that our home had been ransacked. Papers were scattered, furniture overturned, clear signs of a calculated intrusion. The message was clear. They knew our every move, and they would stop at nothing to halt our investigation. Fear intertwined with anger, forming a resolute resolve within me. I would not allow these shadowy figures to intimidate us into submission. We bolstered our defenses, fortifying our home with security systems and cameras. Each day brought new threats, veiled warnings left at our doorstep, anonymous emails filled with cryptic messages. It seemed as though the walls were closing in around us, but we refused to back down. As the tension mounted, cracks began to form within our group. The pressure and constant threat wore heavily on our collective psyche. Doubts emerged, tempers flared, and trust became a fragile commodity. We were fighting not only against the factory, but against our own inner demons. But amidst the turmoil, a flicker of hope emerged. A group of passionate environmental activists, inspired by our cause, reached out and offered their support. They shared our conviction, and their unwavering dedication breathed new life into our fight. Together, we organized a secret meeting at an undisclosed location, a sanctuary away from prying eyes. This clandestine gathering became a haven for those seeking justice, a place where we could share our fears, frustrations, and strategies without fear of betrayal. Bound by a common purpose, we formed a network of individuals with diverse skills and backgrounds. Lawyers, hackers, researchers. They all contributed their expertise to expose the factory's crimes. We were no longer alone in this fight. We had become a force to be reckoned with. But danger lurked at every turn. Our meetings were infiltrated and valuable information leaked to the factory's executives. It became clear that there was a mole in our midst, someone willing to sacrifice our cause for personal gain. Paranoia gripped our hearts as suspicion cast its long shadow over our group. Each member became a potential betrayer, and trust eroded within our ranks. We needed to unmask the traitor, but doing so would require a delicate balance of caution and determination. Amidst this turmoil, we redoubled our efforts to gather irrefutable evidence against the factory. Our investigation took us to the polluted river itself, where we collected water samples and documented the devastating impact of the toxic waste. We knew that this evidence would be the key to shattering the facade of the factory's innocence. Yet, danger lingered at every step. Our lives had become a perilous dance, where each move could mean the difference between survival and defeat. We lived in a constant state of vigilance, knowing that the factory's executives would stop at nothing to protect their secrets. But the flames of resilience burned brightly within us. We had seen the irreversible damage caused by the factory's pollution, and we could not turn away. In the face of mounting danger and betrayal, we found ourselves standing at a precipice, a critical juncture where our resilience and determination would be put to the ultimate test. Chapter 5 tells the tale of our darkest moments and the unwavering strength that rose from the ashes. The revelation of a mole within our group shook us to our core. Trust shattered like fragile glass, leaving behind a landscape of suspicion and doubt. We knew that to continue our fight, we had to expose the traitor and reforge the bonds that had been broken. With cautious deliberation, we embarked on an intricate game of subterfuge. False leads and decoy operations were meticulously planned, aimed at baiting the mole into revealing their true identity. We could no longer afford to be reactive. We had to take control of the narrative and uncover the enemy within. Days turned into weeks as we methodically unraveled the web of deception that had entangled us. Our dedication to the cause and the resilience of the human spirit fueled our pursuit of justice. Slowly but surely, the truth began to emerge from the shadows. In a climactic confrontation, we confronted the mole, unmasking them in a tense standoff. Their confession pierced the air, and their motives were laid bare. It was a painful realization, but it also provided a renewed clarity and unity within our ranks. The exposure of the mole, while a triumph, did not eradicate the dangers that lurked outside our doors. The factory's executives, sensing their grip slipping, became even more desperate and vindictive. They launched a ruthless smear campaign, aiming to discredit us and undermine the validity of our evidence. Media outlets were flooded with fabricated stories, casting doubt on our credibility and portraying us as adversaries of progress and economic stability. We were branded as troublemakers, attempting to derail the town's prosperity for our own personal gain. The onslaught of attacks tested our resolve. It felt as if the weight of the world rested on our shoulders, as though the entire fate of Havenwood teetered on a precipice. But it was precisely during these moments of adversity that we discovered the true strength of our community. Support poured in from unexpected quarters, ordinary citizens who had witnessed the degradation of the river and the suffering it caused. Their voices joined ours, rallying against the factory's machinations and exposing the fallacies of their narratives. Together, we became an indomitable force, a force that refused to be silenced. As the truth resonated with the wider public, pressure mounted on the factory and its executives. Government agencies were forced to investigate, and legal proceedings commenced. The wheels of justice began to turn, grinding slowly but surely toward accountability. Meanwhile, Sarah's health showed signs of improvement. The experimental treatment we had embarked upon proved to be a beacon of hope, providing relief from her suffering. Though the journey was far from over, her progress became a symbol of resilience and the potential for redemption. In the face of adversity, we found strength. Our fight became a catalyst for change, awakening a collective consciousness within the town of Havenwood. Activism spread like wildfire as citizens stood up against corporate negligence and fought for the preservation of their environment. The factory's grip on the town weakened, and its executives faced the consequences of their actions. Fines were imposed, and their operations were strictly regulated. They became cautionary tales, reminders of the repercussions of prioritizing profit over the well-being of the community. As the dust settled and the polluted river began its slow process of rejuvenation, a newfound sense of harmony washed over Havenwood.